So that sounds exactly the same. What we've just said, what we've heard is someone walking up and down here.
Yes, 100%.
Was that? Oh!
Exploring the woods alone in the middle of the night is never easy. Fear can strike at any moment. But imagine if, in that darkness, you came face to face with something you never wanted to encounter. That's exactly what happened to Joe and Elliot in their chilling first recording. Joe and Elliot are the creators behind the YouTube channel Ghost Theory. They're known for venturing into haunted places armed with cameras and investigative gear, all in search of undeniable evidence of life after death. Their mission is simple: to uncover the truth behind paranormal stories and separate legend from reality. But this time, while investigating a Tudor-style mansion, they stumbled upon something completely unexpected. The evidence they captured was so convincing it could make even the most skeptical person start to question their beliefs. The location was Tutor World, a historic mansion now turned into a museum, preserving the grim and brutal history of the Tudor era.
At Tudor World, where this amazing Tudor mansion's been turned into a kind of museum.
I mean, we've had a look around already, but there's one part we haven't been in yet, which apparently would be the most active part of the building.
Yeah.
And we've got stories because this is sort of connected to the...
Joe and Elliot began their exploration by wandering through every corner of the building, which was filled with chilling displays of torture, witchcraft, and bizarre medical practices from the past. From the very beginning, the atmosphere felt heavy, as if the old walls still carried the shadows of a dark history. They came across rooms said to have been places where women once felt the touch of unseen entities and heard unsettling stories of strange and gruesome remedies, ranging from the use of mercury to the urine of the dead.
Right, so according to stories of this place, people are allowed to sit and lie on the bed and test the bed out. And I'm not going down that line. No.
I mean, this whole thing here is about how they would half drown women just to shut them up if they spoke out of line.
Yeah.
This woman is using the urine of a dead man. Like, I don't understand how this... I mean, did he die and then...
Their first steps through the building felt like a chilling prologue to the long night ahead, as if hinting at restless energies still trapped within its ancient walls. As darkness fell and the entire place sank into silence, Joe and Elliot began their investigation on the ground floor, calling out to anyone or anything that might still linger there.
And I was about to say everything's quietening down now, but it has quietened down, so... We're here to try and communicate, and you've probably had this a lot. A lot of people come here, so we apologise if...
At first, the room was drowned in an eerie silence. But suddenly that stillness was broken by a loud, distinct knock, echoing as if it came from only a few steps away. The sound was far too real to be mistaken for anything from outside. For them, it was the first undeniable sign that something else was there. A direct response that instantly made their hearts race, filling the air with both unease and curiosity.
Please, can you make some sounds for us? Can you knock on...
What was that?
Did you just hit...
And that was in the room as well. That wasn't like noise from outside.
No.
The tension kept building. As they kept watch downstairs, the sudden creak of footsteps echoed across the wooden floor right above their heads. The sound was so distinct it felt as if someone was truly walking up there. To be sure, Elliot went upstairs and recreated the noise, and it matched perfectly, as if confirming that someone, or something, was pacing back and forth above them.
They're walking then, upstairs, very far away. It's that step.
That is 100% it. Someone's just stood on that step. That's instant.
All of this marked the beginning of a pattern that left them both frustrated and terrified. Every time they stayed downstairs, the sound of footsteps echoed clearly above their heads. Yet the moment they went up to investigate, the entire building would fall into silence. It was as if something was deliberately toying with them, trapping them in an endless loop, an intelligent presence that seemed to watch their every move. Things only grew stranger when their equipment began to malfunction. Camera batteries that should have lasted for hours drained within minutes. Recording stopped without explanation, and it happened most often in the most active areas. The sense of being watched became overwhelming when they entered the attic, known as the seance room. Here, the atmosphere shifted drastically, growing oppressively heavy, until both of them felt a presence so real it was impossible to ignore. Elliot became convinced that something was standing directly behind him. The tension mounted further with unsettling little sounds, soft clicks and the creak of wood, that seemed to come from the empty chairs right beside them, even though they sat perfectly still. As the night deepened and the outside world sank into absolute silence, the mansion's activity reached its peak. Shortly after 2:30 a.m., footsteps echoed once again from the floor above, this time louder, firmer, and more deliberate than ever. Believing there was no rational explanation left, they carried out one final experiment. Joe remained downstairs while Elliot walked across the upper floor, and the sound matched exactly with the phantom footsteps that had haunted them all night long.
Sound the same?
Exactly the same.
Okay. So that sounds exactly the same. What we've just said, what we've heard is someone walking up and down here.
Yes, 100%.
The building was tightly locked, with no one inside except them, and the outside world was utterly silent. There was no way to deny what they clearly heard, the sound of footsteps, as if someone was walking down the empty halls right beside them. In that moment, they realized they had captured exactly what they had been searching for. Clear, repeatable, and undeniable evidence of the paranormal. Those disembodied footsteps weren't just random noise. The creaking rhythm felt intelligent, responsive, and at times almost playful, as though something was deliberately toying with them. It became a cat-and-mouse game that pulled the investigators between excitement and fear. That night, they left Tutor World without a single logical explanation for who or what was pacing the halls. All that remained was a chilling certainty that the spirits of the past are far closer and far more real than we can ever imagine. Stepping into a haunted forest is already a nerve-wracking experience, but what if the forest itself seems to turn the tables and start hunting you instead? Tonight we'll follow a terrifying investigation that pushes an explorer to the edge of his endurance. This footage will send chills down your spine and make you wonder what truly hides in the darkness behind the trees. Let's dive straight into this chilling encounter. Here's Dan, the man behind the YouTube channel Cursed Urban. With unwavering determination and courage, he explores places believed to be among the most paranormally active, aiming to capture phenomena that defy all logic. His channel stands as living proof of his dedication and bravery. But when he decided to return to the haunted location known as the Mimic Forest, Dan found himself facing something far darker and more dangerous than he had ever imagined. This forest wasn't unfamiliar to him. On a previous visit, he had encountered eerie, disembodied voices and chilling screams that couldn't be explained. This time, however, his plan was bolder. An overnight stealth camping trip in his car, hoping to capture undeniable evidence of the entity said to mimic human voices to lure its victims deeper into the forest's shadows.
And we're going to try some other stuff. A little bit of background on this area. Supposedly there is a mimic creature in here. What a mimic is it does mimicry. It mimics your voice. It tries to draw you into the woods to eat you, to kill you. I don't know what exactly it does, because people who are brought in by mimics tend not to come back to tell the tale. So supposedly there's a mimic creature in these woods.
With heightened caution, he pushed deeper into the forest, now shrouded in darkness, ready to face whatever might await him. During his exploration, Dan suddenly came across a strange clearing. Fallen trees arranged in a perfect circle, exactly like the description of a ritual site he had once been told about. In an instant, the air around him grew thick and heavy, wrapping the place in an atmosphere that felt suffocating and shrouded in mystery.
And I'm already getting creeped out, dude. No matter how many times I do this, how many times I go out camping and stuff, I don't know if I'll ever get used to the fact of just like wandering into a dark forest, at night by myself. It's always something else. Oh, what's this? Dude, look at this. What's going on here? What is this about? See this? There's like this stuffing all shredded. I don't know, that's weird. Guys, let me know in the comments if you have any idea what this stuff is. Maybe it is like some sort of like plant or whatever, but I don't see it on anything else. It's just that one tree. Which, dude, stuff like that always sketches me out for real, because this forest is really, really known for a lot of disappearances, and a lot of these disappearances have been swept under the rug. So,
Convinced that this was the right spot to begin his investigation, Dan launched the Spirit Talker app, hoping to make contact with whatever entities or spirits might dwell there. It didn't take long for the forest to respond. A faint, eerie laugh echoed from the trees, followed by a chilling warning from the app about an evil spirit. The laughter returned, this time much closer, just as Dan noticed a trail of snapped and broken trees, as if something massive had been dragged across the area. Moments later, the device spelled out a single unsettling word: victim.
Trying to figure out a way to hold my phone, my camera, and get the flashlight out so you guys can see a bit more instead of nothing. So I got a very weak light on the camera right now. Actually, you know what?
Hear my voice.
Hear my voice. Let me turn this up. Way up. It's going to kill the battery on it, but maybe you'll be... Yeah, there you guys go. Now you can see something. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Alright, better... And then it said, hear my voice. And it was just about 30 seconds after it said each of those things that we heard it. Dude, we're in for something tonight. We are in for something tonight. For sure. 1950s.
Suddenly, a sharp crack, like a branch snapping, erupts nearby, only to repeat seconds later from a completely different direction. A classic sign of the mimic he's been hunting. The tension tightens around him, yet Dan pushes forward along the riverside trail, the source of those unsettling sounds. And it's there his suspicion is confirmed. He isn't alone. For a brief moment, a pale white figure peeks out from behind a tree, its silhouette caught in the faint glow of distant light, before vanishing without a trace or a sound.
There we go. All set up. Tent is done. A lot easier than I remember. Alright, so tent's done. Sleeping bag needs to go in there. Put this stuff away before I lose something.
That's about it. Going to,
Moments later, the disembodied laughter echoes again, this time sounding unmistakably like a taunt, as if mocking him. The sense of being watched grows even stronger. Moving cautiously, Dan makes his way back to the ritual clearing, only to spot something that hadn't been there before. 2 sticks deliberately arranged in the shape of an X. As he struggles to grasp the meaning of this unsettling discovery, the spirit talker suddenly delivers its most direct and terrifying message yet.
This was not here. This was not here. The last time we were here. This was 100% not here. Before. It's like a cross or an X, like X marks. No, it's more like an X than a cross. Like an X marks the spot. Ha. It just, dude, it just said ha ha. Yo, it just said ha ha. Okay. With all the laughing we've been hearing tonight in the woods, and now we get ha ha on a spirit talker. That's not a coincidence, dude. That is not a coincidence.
The creature isn't just there. It's toying with Dan, mocking him as if the laughter had been meant for him all along. Any sense of safety vanishes, replaced by the haunting feeling of being hunted. In the end, Dan decides to take refuge in his car, hoping the steel and glass will shield him from the night's terror. He manages to drift off to sleep, but is violently jolted awake when the same horrifying laughter echoes once more. Before he can even make sense of it, 2 thunderous bangs slam against his car windows in quick succession. One from the right and the other from the left.
Alright guys, I just woke up. And what woke me up is it sounded like laughing. Sound like that same laughing I heard before, just way closer. What the dude? What the was that? What the was that? Oh! What the dude? Holy holy oh, what the oh, what the was that? Oh, dude, there's something outside the car. There's something outside this.
The moment he realizes there isn't a single figure outside, panic surges through him. The conclusion is undeniable. The creature is close, far too close. Fear crushes his ability to think clearly. With trembling hands, Dan hastily packs up his gear and makes his way out of the forest as fast as he can, relying solely on instinct to survive. Deep down, he knows he's the target of a cruel game, hunted by something cunning, hateful, and dangerously near. The chilling laughter, the mimicked voices, the pale figure, and the violent pounding on his car. All of it was part of a sadistic game that could have easily cost him his life. Many spirits are satisfied with making their presence known through faint whispers or an icy chill. But the entity in the mimic forest is something else entirely, far more vicious, tangible, and terrifying. It doesn't just want you to know it exists, it wants you to be utterly consumed by fear. Dan made the smartest choice by fleeing when he did, escaping the dark woods that nearly claimed him. Yet one thing remains certain. The creature is still out there, laughing in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. Graveyards are more than just final resting places. They carry the heavy imprint of history within them. Yet some are so deeply tied to a dark and violent past that their shadows linger through the centuries. Imagine what might unfold when a lone investigator dares to step into a site that once bore witness to one of England's bloodiest battles. Tonight we uncover a chilling investigation that will leave you shivering and questioning. What secrets truly lie beneath the soil of these ancient burial grounds? Meet Tom, the creator behind the popular YouTube channel Haunted Finders. He has gained widespread attention for his fearless solo investigations at some of the most haunted locations in England. Equipped with full gear and a deep respect for history, Tom captures raw, unfiltered footage of his encounters with the paranormal, often revealing evidence so startling that viewers are left speechless. Yet one experience truly tested his courage. It took place at a church long known for its eerie reputation, where he came face to face with a mysterious energy determined to make its presence undeniable. On a quiet morning, Tom arrived at East Stoke Church, a historic site closely tied to the Battle of Stoke Field, one of the bloodiest conflicts in English history. He began his investigation by recounting the church's grim past, how thousands of soldiers were killed, turning nearby rivers red with blood, and how their bodies were buried together in a mass grave right in the churchyard.
This place, if you don't already know, sits right opposite the field where the Battle of Stoke Field took place, which was said to be one of the bloodiest battles of English history. So many people died in that battle that there is a small river that runs alongside the field, and when people were trying to escape, they slaughtered them into that stream. And apparently the river ran red with blood that day because of how many people were slaughtered. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that went down here, and they actually mass buried a lot of the soldiers from the Battle of Stoke Field in this churchyard. And there were that many of them buried that the churchyard now sits higher than the church.
As he walked through the churchyard, the ancient atmosphere of the place was almost tangible. Tombstones centuries old, some dating back to the early 1700s, stood as silent witnesses to a history filled with conflict. But as he passed by the church windows, the investigation suddenly took a disturbing turn. For a brief moment, he felt he saw a figure staring back at him, a chilling sight that immediately sent his adrenaline and alertness soaring.
Wow, I got a really weird feeling then. Walking past my own windows then, I swear. I thought I saw someone looking out, that was weird.
Still shaken but undeterred, Tom pressed on. He began an EVP session near the site believed to be the mass grave, breaking the silence with words that called out to any spirits connected to the battle. The response came almost immediately, startling and sending chills down his spine.
What was that? What? Oh, that is clear. What is that? What does he say? Definitely shouted something.
Suddenly, a loud, aggressive shout echoed through his equipment. The words were unclear, but the hostile tone was undeniable. It was evident that Tom was not alone, and the entity with him seemed desperate to be heard. The chilling sense of being watched, which began with the figure in the window, intensified, as if something was tracking his every move. Switching to a spirit box app, Tom attempted to establish a more direct line of communication. Although the responses were fragmented, they painted a dark picture, confirming the tragic history that haunted the site.
Don't antagonize.
Don't antagonize. I'm not here to antagonize. Still graves present here from 1701.
Horrible things happened here.
Whoa. Disposed of.
Cursed land.
Cursed land.
Suddenly, a single chilling word echoed clearly. Tom, an experienced investigator, immediately recognized it as a signature of the aggressive spirit he had encountered at this location before. The entity continued to issue threats through strange phrases, making it clear he was dealing with the most malevolent energy haunting the churchyard. The tension escalated, shifting from verbal threats to physical activity. Following the spirit box's instruction to sit, Tom took a nearby bench. Behind him, distinct footsteps rustled the leaves, circling around as if carefully observing and evaluating his every move.
Just heard someone walking down here. You coming to join me? I've just heard you. Such a strange feeling here. Someone walking behind me. I can hear you. Come closer then. Come and sit with me. Can you hear that? Please tell me you can hear that. Someone just walked underneath the tree.
As Tom stood to adjust his equipment, a sudden object flew toward him, landing with a loud thud just a few steps away. The incident repeated several times, signaling that the spirit was no longer satisfied with mere words. Now the entity was asserting its presence physically, hurling objects from the darkness to intimidate Tom, turning the once quiet churchyard into a tense and unpredictable battleground.
I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to throw stuff. Okay? I don't know if that was on the audio, but I stood up to put my phone in my pocket so I can get the recorder out. And if someone threw something over here, and again, stop throwing things.
Although Tom managed to leave the site physically unharmed, the experience left an unforgettable mark. He was stalked, threatened, and even had objects thrown at him by an unseen force. Was this the spirit of a tormented soldier, forever enraged by his brutal death and disrespectful burial? Or was it something darker, an entity that feeds on the pain and suffering embedded in the very soil of the church? The aggressive presence left one clear message. Some places are best left undisturbed, and certain spirits will do whatever it takes to make sure you never forget them. Working alone at night usually feels calm, almost peaceful. But what happens when that quiet is suddenly shattered by a strange sound that shouldn't be there? Tonight, we're diving into a recording that turns a simple car upgrade into a tense and chilling experience. This clip shows that sometimes the scariest encounters can happen right in your own driveway. Let's watch this intense footage together. Meet Dustin Frazier, the creator behind the YouTube channel that bears his name. He often shares glimpses of his life with his audience, but one night, a simple project took a terrifying turn when something inexplicable interrupted him, turning his camera into a witness of a deeply unsettling event. This casual footage captures raw fear, reminding us that we are never truly alone. The video begins with Dustin inside his car preparing to install new leather seat covers. It's around 1 a.m., and the quiet darkness of the night surrounds him as he explains his small project to the camera. He admits that he's alone and a bit uncertain about what he's doing, creating an isolated and vulnerable atmosphere right from the start.
I am here. Literally just, at a, park. So I got these leather seat covers, right? Also, I got a ring. I started rewatching Vampire Diaries, so I ordered a lapis lazuli ring. Anyways, that's besides the point. I wanted to put them on. I don't know. And I don't know what I'm doing. So, I'm gonna try to put them on.
As he was speaking, he suddenly went silent. His voice cut off abruptly, and the relaxed atmosphere instantly turned tense.
Okay. Sorry, it sounded like crying or something.
A sound pierced the night's silence. Faint yet unmistakable, described by Dustin as a cry. A long, tense quiet followed as he stood frozen, intently staring into the darkness beyond his car. The camera kept rolling, capturing only the heavy stillness as he tried to process the unsettling noise. After what felt like an eternity, he forced himself to push it aside and refocus on his task. But the next thing he saw made his heart race, and an overwhelming urge to run surged through him. A tall, dark figure, completely shrouded in black, stood motionless in the middle of the street, staring straight at him. The comforting sense of solitude instantly vanished, replaced by a cold feeling of being watched. The project he was working on was forgotten, and all that filled his mind was the terrifying possibility of who, or what, might be lurking there. Even though he wanted to continue, the frightening interruption cast a dark shadow over the rest of his night. As Dustin tried to move away, the video abruptly cut to black, yet the mystery lingered. Where had that haunting cry come from? Was it just a distant animal or something far more sinister and disturbingly human? It's this uncertainty that makes the clip so tense. He was in a familiar place, yet the unknown had found him. It serves as a stark reminder. You don't have to venture deep into the woods to feel fear. Sometimes the most terrifying things are waiting right outside your own home. The wilderness is always unpredictable, where the normally soothing sounds of nature can suddenly turn into something terrifying. But what happens when you're alone, and the noises you hear clearly don't come from any ordinary animal? Tonight, we follow the story of a solo camper whose peaceful night quickly turns into a harrowing ordeal. This footage serves as a chilling reminder that in the middle of the woods, solitude is just an illusion. You are never truly alone. Meet Dan, the creator behind the popular YouTube channel English Woodsman. As an experienced outdoorsman, Dan thrives on the challenge and serenity of solo camping, all while capturing every moment for his viewers. He's well acquainted with the strange sensations and heightened tension that come with being alone in the wilderness. But on this particular night, Dan would face something that would truly test his courage, turning a routine camping trip into an experience filled with fear. His adventure began as usual, seeking out a quiet, secluded corner of the forest. As darkness crept in, he shared the unique mental state of solo camping, the heightened awareness, the initial nerves every lone adventurer feels. He explained how every sense becomes tuned to the surroundings, where the snap of a twig or rustle of leaves is amplified in the stillness of the night.
When you come camping with friends, 2, 3 of you, you sort of like, you don't have a nerve build up, you know, you're not a little bit aware of your surroundings because there's a small group of yourselves. You need just to switch off from your normal life, let's say, and you need to take in your surroundings, your noise is what you were, like I can hear a stream over that direction. Yeah, when you're solo camping, you really need to tune in. And you'll do it without realising anyway, but when you solo camp by yourself. I've done this for years, on and off by myself, and every time I still come out and I still need to feel that little bit of...
As he set up his gear for the night, a subtle but persistent sense of unease began creeping over him. While pitching his tent and preparing dinner, faint whispers seemed to drift from the edges of his campsite. He tried to dismiss them, convincing himself it was just his imagination. A common occurrence for anyone alone in the vast, dark woods. Yet the chilling feeling of being watched never fully went away. Hours later, sitting in complete darkness with only a small lantern for light, that strange sensation returned, faint sounds coming from just beyond his line of sight. He tried to calm himself, attributing it to the typical paranoia of solo trips, a familiar yet intensely unsettling part of the experience.
I keep thinking like I hear something. I don't know. It's probably me. Letting my mind play tricks with me. I always keep thinking that I'm hearing something around. But when you're by yourself, your mind can't.
Finally, Dan decided to get some rest, taking a step that would shape the course of his night. To block out the unsettling noises and calm his mind, he turned off his light, played some music, and wrapped himself tightly in his sleeping bag. But that sense of peace was short-lived, fading almost immediately.
I heard like a weird, like a sniffing noise, like a dog. Earlier we were on about if you're with somebody else, things like this won't bother you, and it's true. But when you're by yourself, little noises do give you butterflies.
Suddenly, an eerie sound shattered the quiet of the night. A loud, heavy sniffing echoed almost like a dog, but there was something strange and unsettling about it. The next morning, a visibly shaken Dan recounted the terrifying experience, admitting that the night had left him genuinely scared. The sniffing wasn't a one-time occurrence. It happened 2 or 3 times, waking him from his sleep. His fear escalated so quickly that after hearing it the second time, he scrambled out of his bivy bag in the darkness to move his food and gear, hanging them high in a tree to prevent whatever was out there from being drawn to the scent. The moment was intense and kept him on high alert for the rest of the night. Although Dan made it through the night physically unharmed, the question of what was lurking outside his campsite remains unanswered. Was it just an ordinary animal, or something far more sinister attracted to a lone camper? Its persistence throughout the night showed a chilling curiosity. Dan's ordeal serves as a stark reminder that in the deep woods, silence can be deceiving, and the scariest encounters often come from things you can hear but cannot see.